Ever since I saw Alex's movie Hot Tension, he's somebody that I really wanted to work with. He's a director that really knows how to create great suspense for the audience and is a great storyteller. So I'd always hoped to have a chance to work with him, and my dream came true when I met Craig, and we had a chance to work on Crawl together.
I've always wanted to work with Alex. There was another project that I recently just went back and looked at because I'm trying to find the next project for the three of us to do. And I found this old email that I'd give him. It didn't come together for whatever reason, but I had sent him a few things in between that time. When I read this, like Sam says, with like tension and storytelling, and with a little bit of fun with gore, I guess you'd say, goriness. I thought it was perfect for him, and I really like the claustrophobic feeling of having this prehistoric beast in your violating your house, almost like a home invasion with alligators. That I sent it to him, and he called me afterwards, and he says, "You had me at the log line." I don't think people have seen this combination of this natural disaster happening with this specific beast done in this particular way, not in like we wanted to do it in this sort of naturalistic way where we as humans are invaders on their land, right? And so when the water comes up, they're displaced and they're just behaving like they normally behave. You know, Alex and Sam and I always talked about we don't want that one alligator with like the gash in the eye and like across the eye, like I'm coming for you. It's super grounded in its approach, but yet it has all the fun, and it's a popcorn movie, and I think we really want that audience enjoyment of being scared and the ride of it. So I think it delivers both on like the groundedness and also the popcorn part of it. That's how I would separate it from other ones.
My job as a producer was understanding how films are made and just being a sounding board for Alex, a confidant, somebody who was on his side, who he could run ideas by whenever he wanted to, which was not often. But occasionally there'd be a problem and I might make a suggestion, or he might have a question about how I felt about something. But really, it was not about my style. It's all about Alex, his style, and me supporting him the best that I could to achieve his vision. And that's, I think, what great producers or good producers do. Crawl's a story of a flood, a hurricane that happens in the south of Florida. And there's a young lady who's on the Gators swim team in college, and she gets a call from her sister in New York. Dad's in trouble. He's not answering his phone. I'm worried about him. So our heroine goes down, crosses a National Guard line, because the whole place is flooding, to see what's happened to her father. He's not answering the phone, and he's right in the path of this oncoming hurricane. Well, she gets to the house, and he's not there, but his car is there, so she can't figure out what's wrong. And then she hears music coming from the cellar. She goes down there, and the whole place is flooding, and she finds her father unconscious in the corner of the cellar. And basically, he's been bitten by an alligator. He went down there perhaps to fix up the basement, but it's caved in due to the flood, and an alligator has come into the cellar. And now it's really the story of this estranged father and daughter coming together, and their fight for survival over one day of this Category 5 hurricane against this alligator, a struggle to survive. Yes, alligators are like this primordial creature that hasn't changed or evolved in millions of years because they're such a perfect killing and eating machine. And so the movie just plays upon the idea of what if conditions were such, the flood, that they came into our homes. So it's really a good, interesting mix of the primal and the modern day clashing just because of this particular storm.
They see very well at night, which is great because during a hurricane, and our sun is blacked out by the hurricane, and underwater they present the same sort of not fear, but danger to humans as sharks and great whites. And they actually, on the number of attacks on humans annually, they're much higher number. There's much higher numbers of alligator attacks than sharks.
Kaya is very tough. I physically believe through her workouts and practicing that she's a college swimmer, not professional, but college level swimmer. And yet she has a vulnerability that she eventually reveals to the audience through Alex's direction that makes her very endearing to the audience. So she's really the kind of hero you want to root for. She starts and she's a little at odds with her father, played by Barry, and through the course of the movie, they come together in a beautiful way, and they're there for each other. So it's really a nice story, and the casting of her, because of those complexities in the actress, makes it really work for me.
I thought it was interesting that neither Barry nor Kaya had ever done like a true horror film, which was interesting. So they talked to Alex a lot about, certain blocking, where am I supposed to be looking, like things that would, and they were really eager to help us craft the most scary movie possible. And that was greatly appreciated, and it shows, and it worked out. And then on top of that, we had, I think, something like 4 million gallons of water circulating amongst like 6 temporary tanks at any given moment over our course of shooting. And these actors were in the water almost every day and in the mud. And they loved it. Kaya told me that it was one of the most satisfying work experiences she's ever had, and she's been in Pirates of the Caribbean and 3 huge franchise movies called Maze Runner, and for I like to say our little big movie, I found that immensely rewarding to hear an actor say that. I would think the major challenge was the water. It really was making a movie that has because there's different layers. There's the flooding of the crawl space, right? So you have to have a very sort of mathematical approach and continuity approach of like where the water is when you're shooting over many days. That's just one of it, and also the practicality of making it hospitable for the actors, but not inhospitable enough so that you get an accurate performance from them. The other thing about the water is honestly the danger of shooting it. Our general rule was if you don't have to be in the water, stay the hell out of the water, basically. So we always know where everyone is, but you have to get makeup people in there. You have to get set dressers in there to fix things because it's always breaking. The water is constantly breaking down the set, and you have to refresh that every day. It was very challenging. I think the water is the most challenging part.
I love the effect that horror movies have on the audience. They really seem to have so much fun when they go to them. They giggle, they grab each other,
Yeah.
They're holding hands, they cover themselves with coats. It's such a visceral, theatrical, entertaining experience to be in a horror film. Now, there's other films that are much more emotional, much more powerful and subtle and affect you deeply, but a horror film is just like going on a roller coaster and just a raw blast. That's what I love about it.